Hi, welcome to the MyFestus.com conversation show, an encouraging, entertaining, and educational podcast for those who live, work, and play in the Festus, Missouri, and Jefferson County area, and for those who value communication, connection, and community wherever you live. Hi, I'm Sara, your host, a Wisconsin girl who is learning all about living in Missouri. Join me as I share fun conversations with local people and share my own reflections on navigating so many transitions. Thank you for making listening an itty-bitty habit to create a big impact in your life. Enjoy. Hello and welcome back to another episode of MyFestus.com Conversations. We are here in the podcast studio with the very famous Lewis Pippin. Lewis is the captain of the Festus, Missouri Police Department. He is also on the board of Jeffco Shop for a Cop. We are going to listen in to hear all about the good stuff. But before we get started, he went to a local coffee shop and got a drink. And I always am curious about what people like to drink when they go to a local coffee shop. So what is your drink of choice?
I got the American Lotus.
Okay.
But I substituted the strawberry for cherry.
So you're not a coffee guy.
I'm not a coffee guy. I can't handle the taste of it.
Okay, but you need a little, maybe I shouldn't say need. You would like a little caffeine in the morning?
I need caffeine, yes. Needs a good word.
Okay, so like how much caffeine are we talking that the captain of the Festus, Missouri Police Department consumes each day?
Enough to get me through this cup, and then I'll start another.
Okay, so
it's an all-day long project.
Okay, and that's what I'm curious, because I kind of have a love-hate relationship with caffeine, and I'm always curious when people like really do consume a lot of caffeine. Does it make you feel jittery, or is it just like you're on all day with it?
It keeps me aware of everything that's happening all day long, and it keeps me up to speed.
Okay, so like helps your brain waves like function a little bit. Is there a certain cutoff time that you cannot drink any caffeine after? For you to sleep at night?
Nope, I'll just crash.
For real?
Yeah.
So, like, you could, say, have an energy drink at, like, 9 o'clock at night, and you're still good to go for the rest of the evening.
If I have an energy drink at 9 and I need to go to bed at 10 or 10:30, I will fall asleep within 5 minutes.
Impressive.
I know.
I feel like my cutoff time is, like, 3 o'clock in order for me to keep it going.
No, it's great being exhausted all the time. Yeah.
And, like, energy drinks are your drinks of choice.
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep.
Okay. Fascinating. The things that we learn about on MyFestus.com conversations about the local leaders in our area.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to have you tell everyone about what Jeffco Shop with a Cop is, because as someone who is newer to this area, I was fascinated and intrigued. We actually met about a year ago. We sat down and Lewis told me all about how this organization started, why it got started, and the impact it has on our community. And I am excited for him to share with you about what it's all about. So fill us in, take us into the journey of this nonprofit organization, how it got started. Let's hear it.
So it absolutely fell into my lap. My sergeant came to me one day and said, hey, there's an organization that is kind of starting up, and it's for raising money for underprivileged kids at Christmas time to take them shopping.
Okay.
And they get to shop alongside a first responder.
So like the kiddos actually like shop?
Yep.
With them. Okay.
The kids get to shop with the first responder. At the time that we were approached, the organization was shopping for about 17 kids a year.
Okay, in Jefferson County.
In Jefferson County.
Okay.
And then...
And like how long ago was that, or about what year was that?
I think around 2016 to 2017.
So 2016, 2017, there was 17 children who were fortunate to like actually go to a store, shop with some sort of a cop or first responder, and they would get a gift for themselves to open on Christmas. Is that how it would work?
Correct. They would get some money to go shopping with, and they would shop with the first responder, and then they would check out, and they would take their toys home and have toys for Christmas whenever they might not regularly have that opportunity.
Okay. So that's what was going on then. And then you said it fell onto your lap.
Yes, so I was a corporal for the Festus Police Department at the time, and I was a cop, not a businessman, and then I had to learn overnight how to run a business. Myself and another person from the Festus Police Department, we started running that program together, and it absolutely ballooned once we got on the board. We got an attorney, we established bylaws, we got insured.
So like you're setting up all the foundation, like, okay, we need to make this thing
Yes.
solid. We need to run with this.
Third-party accounting firm. We got our 501c3, so we're tax exempt and we're recognized as a charitable organization.
Okay.
We got all of our paperwork completed with the state. We just went above board with everything.
Yes.
And whenever that happened, we went around and we partnered with all of the first responder agencies in Jefferson County, minus just a couple who do their own versions of the program in their own jurisdictions.
And like, who are these first responders, or like what departments, what entities are we talking about?
All of them. Police, fire, EMS, and dispatch.
Wow.
So we're made up of all those. We even have a very, very strong and loyal gathering of citizens that actually come out to all of our events and that help us out, and they come to all the board meetings and everything else. And they are instrumental in getting things started, and we'll touch on that here in a second.
Sure.
With some of the events that they came up with. And one of the biggest parts of the program is our school districts. So Jeffco Shop with a Cop, we cover all 11 public school districts in Jefferson County.
11 public school districts in Jefferson County. That's a lot.
And we work with all of those counselors from those districts. And
Okay,
they are...
My ask is, how are we figuring out...
Yes, they're the ones that recognize and they select the children. So we don't see the kids every day. They do. So they know which kids are the most in need. And the work that the counselors do, it's incredibly impressive because they're not only keeping track of what we give, but they're keeping track of what other entities and businesses give as well.
Gotcha. So collectively trying to determine kind of who gets maybe a little extra help.
Yes.
Okay.
And it also extends the reach. So not one child is getting all these benefits while there's others that need it that aren't getting any. Yes. So they spread that love around.
Love you, counselors.
Yes.
Okay.
They are awesome. And so what we do is we raise money all year long through events, donations, raffles, fundraisers, whatever. And then at the end of the year, we'll touch base with those counselors. We'll tell them how much money we've raised so then they can select the amount of children. And they'll select the kids. They treat the events as a field trip. So they actually bus the kids to the events.
Nice.
They get a first responder escort. And once they're there, they get to have cookies and milk with Santa. We're close friends with Santa.
Yes.
So my kids are really excited about that.
Santa.
And so Santa's there. We shop at a couple of different Walmarts.
And can I pause just for a minute? Because like in my mind, and maybe those who are listening and watching, you know, and where we're thinking like 17 kids, like you wouldn't think you'd need a bus or things like that. Like obviously that we're talking about more than that. Like what for the last year, what are the numbers of children and maybe first responders are we talking about now?
So the last 2 years, we have shopped for over 550 kids each shopping year. Oh. And each child receives a gift card for $150.
Okay, so those numbers. So 2022, 2023, 550 children. Plus. And each of those children are receiving $150 worth of whatever they decide they want to pick out at a local store.
Yes, there are some limitations. They have to be age appropriate or no weapons. And
what are the ages, by the way? What's the age range
of
these kiddos?
Our demographic for selecting children is a little bit unique. So we'll do, we shop for kids that are in K through 6.
Okay.
Now, if there's a child that's K through 6 that is selected that has an older school-age sibling or a younger at-home sibling, we invite them as well because we don't want any kids in the household going without a Christmas.
So then that's taken into consideration as well, like the family. Yes. It's not just one kiddo. We're talking about a household of kiddos.
That is more work for the counselors.
Absolutely.
Because they're having to try to figure out who else is in that home.
This is a big thing.
Yes.
So think about the impact of all of these nearly probably this year 600 kiddos and their families that are going to get gifts for Christmas.
Yes. And to touch on that,
Yes.
I got to share a story right off the bat because we have so many heartwarming stories. But you mentioned the families.
Yes.
So I have been doing this for a lot of years. And a lot of years, to me, it was just providing these gifts for the kids, providing these gifts for the kids. It's the kids, it's the kids, it's the kids. We were at an event a couple of years ago, and one of the volunteers came over to me, and they're like, hey, you need to come meet this family. You don't want to miss them.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. So I go over, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Nice to meet you. And they donated. They had 2 young children with them, and each child donated a $100 bill. And I was like, wow.
This was a family who showed up to support.
Yes.
Not that were receiving things. Okay.
Yep, they
showed
came
up
to an event.
Each kid had $100 to donate to another child. Okay.
Yep. So they each donated $100, and I was like, okay, would you guys like a shirt? Would you like anything? And they're like, no, we don't want anything. And then I was like, well, that's incredibly generous of you.
Yeah.
And the father, with tears kind of welling up in his eyes, he was like, hey, you probably don't remember them, my children, because you help out so many in the community. But these were actually shoppers of yours a couple of years ago.
No.
And I didn't have a job at the time. I just lost it. And my wife and I were struggling financially, and we didn't know what we were going to do for Christmas for our children. We didn't know if we were going to be able to provide one.
Sure. And
we got the letter in the mail from the school saying that our children had been invited, and it answered all of our prayers.
Oh my goodness. And literally.
Yes.
Goosebumps, people.
And they wanted to come out, and they wanted to make that donation so they could pay it forward.
Yes.
So other kids could have that same experience as theirs. Yes. Because they're in much better position now.
Sure.
He got a job, and they were doing much better, and we helped them in a time of need.
Those kiddos, kind of like what goes around comes around. Like,
yep.
let's give back. We received. We're now in a position that we can support. We can help out.
And it was in that moment that I realized it wasn't just about the kids. There's good-hearted people that are out there that are trying their hardest to provide for their kids that just might not be able to in the season or in the moment.
Yes.
And we answered some prayers. Like, we're answering prayers all year long.
I love it.
Yep.
So good. And then obviously there's like you said, community members, there's citizens, but then all of the people, all of the first responders that are getting that connection. Can you talk a little bit about what those kiddos experience when they're actually walking down the aisle with the first responder? And I feel like that's a whole nother element of the experience that they have, not just, obviously getting something for Christmas, but talk about that little connection that they share in those moments when they're literally pushing a cart down the aisle and how that feels.
So this is where it gets fun. So this is the part I get excited about.
Yes.
So what we have is, we'll have a Grinch that's actually out there roaming around on the floor and everything.
Okay, so you got the Grinch, you got Santa, everyone's in the store.
And
yes.
The Grinch is ornery. So he'll be going up to the carts, and he'll be taking toys and stuff out of them, and then the first responders and the kids are chasing after him trying to get their toys back. But hilarious. If you think about it,
he's having fun. It's a fun, positive energy. Yes.
And if you think about it, all the interactions that kids have with first responders are generally kind of negative in nature. So whether it's them calling 911 because of needing an ambulance for grandma or grandpa, or the fire department, their house is on fire, or whether it be police because somebody's going to jail, or they typically don't have a good experience.
They have that negative association.
And it's no fault of the first responders, but yes, it's a negative association. Right. So for them to be able to spend some time with a first responder on a more personal level, in a more welcoming environment, they have so much fun.
That's awesome.
And so you'll see first responders that are playing catch with the kids.
Love it.
They're
helping them get the gifts back in the cart for the Grinch,
we'll have kids racing bicycles around the store with first responders. First responders are also on the bikes. And I was standing next to a Walmart manager one year whenever a shopper came in to complain. Hey, there's people riding bikes. There they go right there. And they're pointing to them. And it's a couple of firefighters and a police officer and an EMS worker racing a couple of kids on bicycles around the store. And the Walmart worker looked at the lady and she's like, who do you want me to call about this?
Dude, that's hilarious. Right. We got the big people here.
Yeah. And then we lost at last year's event, we lost one of our first responders and a kid. And I was like, I'm out on the floor and I'm looking for him.
Okay.
Not in a bad way.
Sure.
I should say that.
Yeah.
So we're looking around for him, and I'm walking down an aisle, and I get hit in the back with a ball. And I turn around, and the first responder and the kid is in one of those big ball pit towers at the end of an aisle. And they're just in there having the best time.
I love it.
They just make that place their playground.
I love it. So making it a positive association, having that connection be, just as cool of an experience as actually taking the items home that they'll get to have. Oh my goodness. So many feel-good stories. And what you had said before is, it sounds like people in the community, all these first responders, people are working all year long for this event, which happens in December.
Yes.
Talk about that. If people want to get involved, if people want to somehow help so that they can, connect in on this whole experience, help it thrive, help it grow, and support this incredible nonprofit organization and all of these experiences, how do people get involved? How can people help?
So we encourage involvement from the community.
Yes.
And we have people that will actually organize events and run events that we will go and support.
Yes.
And one of our biggest...
They're thinking of an event themselves. Yes. They're like, okay, we can raise some money. Yep. We can do some things. We've got some ideas. And so you're okay with that someone takes the lead to do those things.
Our biggest earning event is our designer bag bingo that we have every fall. Okay. And that was organized and created by a couple of volunteers, and it raises over $30,000 a year.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. And
so they're creating it, they're working on it, they're having a good time with all of that collaboration, and you guys show up and you help to ensure that they have...
We provide manpower, materials, whatever they need to help them out.
Okay.
And the way that they can... the way that anybody can reach out to us is on our website or on our Facebook page. Facebook page is Jeffco Shop with a Cop, and our website is jeffcoshopwithacop.org.
jeffcoshopwithacop.org is the website. And what's on the website that they can find out about?
So they can learn a little bit more about us. There's ways to contact us. Okay. There's events that are on there. We have a yearly raffle that we'll have information on that about. And we just created the website, so it's still a little bit under construction, but we're excited to get that going because it gives us a lot more... it gives us a wider platform and a bigger platform to kind of get information out there to people. And
if someone is, busy, they maybe can't attend events, they can't necessarily run an event, is there a way that they can just donate money and have some funds, whether it's $5, whether it's $500? How can they actually donate throughout the whole year?
So $150 would support a child.
Okay.
But we will take every dollar, every penny even. And the way we have multiple ways to do that. So we have PayPal, Venmo, cash. We could take card. We have a lot of different ways that people can donate.
Okay.
And that information can also be found on our website and on our Facebook page.
jeffcoshopwithacop.org or on Facebook.
Yes, ma'am.
Yay. Oh, my goodness. You are doing so many good things in our community. Yeah. And I would love to know, from a caffeinated version of Mr. Lewis Pippin, what does community mean to you?
It means everything. I raise my kids in this community.
Yes.
I mean, they're growing up in the community that we're all creating.
Yes.
And I want that to be a healthy and positive environment for them and a positive experience for them. And one of the things that my kids get twisted about is that they never get invited to the Shop with a Cop events. Because the kids at that age, they don't know the real true meaning behind what we're doing.
Yes.
Which is perfect because we don't want any negativity being surrounding the organization or anything. So, but my kids know that their dad is on the board for Shop with a Cop, and they have not yet been able to actually go shopping whereas everybody else has.
Right.
And it's so... It really draws a lot of excitement in the school districts whenever the kids get selected and everything.
Yes. So community is family. Community is people. Community is positivity here.
That's where we raise our kids.
I love it. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with me, talk with everyone who's tuning in on myfestus.com conversations. And if you want to get on his good side, I would suggest an energy drink for this man here. Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to listen to this myfestus.com conversation. I hope that you have found some itty-bitty inspiring takeaways to make a big impact in your life. To create an even bigger impact in your life, check out my website, myfestus.com to explore all the positive people and places you can experience around here, as well as learn about encouraging ways to navigate your own life transitions, no matter where you live. I also send out fun, encouraging emails so you can learn about all the new things and score a must-have deal of the week to save you some money as you support our local businesses. Just click on the subscribe button on the myfestus.com website to sign up. Thank you for making listening an itty-bitty habit to create a big impact in your life.